cmpradio.net. It's the station.
cmpradio.net, man. You already know it's the station. Listen, Friday, May 8th, 2026, we're having the Women's Health Fair, 125 East 9th Street. That is Chespin. Stop through. Come through. Celebrate women. Let's go, Rich Blye.
All right, celebrating women. Welcome to the wonderful world of Rich Blye, coming to you live here at cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester, where we cultivate maturity and positivity in everything that we do. Man, what a heck of a week and a weekend, man. Woo, I don't know. It gets harder and harder. It gets harder and harder, bro. You know what I mean? Every step we take, you know what I mean?
So? I don't think it gets harder.
Oh, yes, it does, bro. It gets harder because we're dealing with a lot of people with a lot of stupid energy, bro. Let's get right to it.
Okay.
Let's get right to it.
Stupid energy.
Yeah, stupid energy. See, I mean, the title of this segment is going to be called "For Whom the Bell Tolls," and I'll get into the reason why I picked this particular topic. It has multiple surface values, but I hope that it penetrates deep within where it belongs. But yes, just to segue real quick before we hit into what we do. Yeah, we got a lot of stupid energy, bro, because there were just things over the past couple of weeks in my personal that I really felt as though shouldn't have happened, but I'm glad that it came to a very meaningful resolution today with a mutual understanding of the direction that my grandson's life is going to take over in Delaware. Yeah, man. Like, everybody knows that, I'm a grandfather of a son whose father was murdered. I'm the father of a murdered son in Philadelphia, too, to be exact. But this one in particular has left us an heir, a blood heir, and I'm it. I mean, of course, there's uncles involved. There's, big unks, and there's cousins and stuff like that. But when it comes time for my grandson to understand who he is, I'm the only person that's going to be able to tell him.
Right.
Because I'm the only person that can really tell him about the life and times of his father. Mm-hmm. And Men's Mental Health Monday really has its
ups and downs.
It has a real significance today because I've been tested for the past couple of weeks, and I think that a lot of folks who have been at me, so to speak, to be a certain way for them or understand them, haven't really understood the disciplines that I've had to take for myself in order to adjust to what I felt as though that were roadblocks at the beginning. Like I said, today it was a great resolution. Like when I say a great resolution, the circle back towards me as far as my grandson's academics, as far as my grandson's behavior, because he's not innocent in this, no child is when it comes down to it. But the fact that it was top to bottom, what went wrong with the communication? You know what I'm saying? I'm not familiar with the Christiana School District. I'm familiar with Chester Upland. My grandchildren went to the charter school over here. I'm definitely familiar with the Philadelphia School District. I'm a product of the Philadelphia School District. And, my mother worked for the Philadelphia School District. And, my great aunts worked for the Philadelphia School District. I've had, like I've always said, I've had educators who were always key and central to when it comes to education in my family. So I know that times are different, and people say, oh, times are different. You just got to understand. For an educational person to understand the wisdom of fools is folly. And I can't get along with that. I cannot use it as an excuse. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. They're gonna. But that's not my problem. If you're unteachable, if you are unbreakable in ignorance, and you see that over a period of time, you're supposed to shake yourself for them, bro. No matter what they got going on. If everything that they got going on is something stupid, why are you around them? Listen, if they have something going on dumb around them all of the time, why are you dealing with stupidity? For whom the bell tolls. See, that bell rings. It does. It goes ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. You know it. People call it conscious. People call it an enlightenment or whatever.
It's not a light bell.
An enlightenment?
That's a dong. It's not a light bell, right? You can think it's a light bell.
I know it's not a light bell.
It's not. It's a heavy, deep bell, because when it hits, it's like, fuck. Right? But whether you want to listen, it's up to you.
Listen, and like I said, it's taken me a long time, because that bell has rung for me several times personally, from who the bell tolls. So let's talk about why I picked that as the topic today, because I know a lot of people go back and they review certain things, and Rich just comes up with these topics, and, what is it going to allude to or make sense to or whatever? For whom the bell tolls. Never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Was written by John Donne. Devotions upon Emergent Occasions, Meditation 17. It means that the bell tolls for everybody, that there's no exceptions. That just like you come together for the creation of life, you really come together for the death of a soul. And it brings you to a certain enlightenment depending upon how the person whose bell has been rung has lived their life. Okay? So for me, in the past 2 weeks, I participated in the going home service of a decorated Marine, and now a decorated Navy. And the guy that was in the Navy was my right-hand guy, my right-hand man growing up. My Ace Boone Coon. You know what I mean? My homie. You know what I mean? My party, but, and he's 3 years younger than me. So for whom the bell tolls is a call for us to understand our mortality, and that we don't have enough time to be wasted with stupidity.
I just said this the other night.
We don't have it, bro.
Like literally, I just said it the other night. I said my father passed away when he was 37. Here I am about to turn 47. I went 10 years past my father. My grandfather passed away when he was 94. The Do I expect to live to 94 years old?
Right.
So I might have less time left than I've already experienced. So I have to really take value in what I put my energy into and the things I decide to do. It's nothing against anybody.
Right.
But if it's not going to benefit either me or set a precedence for legacy for my children, I can't be involved in it. That's the partying, that's the going out, that's the celebrating. What am I celebrating?
Exactly.
What am I happy for?
Oh, every weekend, though, we celebrating something every weekend.
I get going out with your friends.
No, listen, I don't. I get going out and sociable drinking, bro. Now, listen, don't listen. I'm not a goody two shoes here. Okay, I just got finished having a great conversation with the Christiana School District administrators, the assistant superintendent. I'm gonna talk about these ladies. Right. I'm gonna talk about these ladies in a minute, but we don't have time.
We don't.
To make every day a celebration occasion. We don't. We don't have time that every time we have an accomplishment, we have to let's party.
It's different strokes for different
No.
folks.
I'm going to say this again. Once again, if we keep allowing the same protocols of excuses of as the measurement of why we're not successful, that's where it starts. Different strokes for different folks. You cannot achieve if you're not on the same plane of reality and existence for those that are building.
And there are those that are building, and there's those that are not building.
Right, and those that are not
build anything.
And exactly, but they always find a way to latch on, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right.
That's what they do.
No, that's what we allow them.
There are fish in the sea that do the same thing.
Exactly.
Latch on to the bigger situation.
And there are people that understand and recognize that and get rid of that parasite for them.
What about the bird that hides on the rhinos or the hippos' backs?
Okay.
Right?
And what happens when they return through the circle of life, bro? There's a return on the investment. So it may not be immediate and swift.
Right.
Okay. It may not be immediate and swift.
But they're still there.
But they're still there. But that's the evolution of a species. We're more elevated. We're more evolved.
No, I think you sometimes think you're more evolved when you really are just like everything.
When I say you're more evolved, you have a better sense of critical thinking if something's good for you, not just on natural instinct.
You do.
No, we all do, bro.
Not everybody.
You know when in the locks? After the fact.
After the fact of what?
After the fact, whether if you let's say
when you realize when you have
made a mistake? Hold on adverse consequence. When you realize you made a mistake, what did you realize? A mistake. So you have the presence of mind of knowing before that this might not be good.
Everybody doesn't.
Okay, and hold on, right? We're gonna stop, but hold on. We had to remove excuses from our listen. We have to remove the excuses, and like I said, this ties into my week, baby. Like all of this intersectional for who the bell tolls. I need people to understand is also attached to the trauma for the week, Men's Mental Health Monday. Like the world's just collided over the past 2 or 3 weeks.
I get it.
And out of that was the discipline and stability to be able to talk to people and help them to understand that I'm not the one causing these situations, so I don't need your resistance. In a nice professional way, bro. You know, I didn't go him hawing and flim flying and puffing out my chest and nothing like that. You know, and making any demands. No, I'm not. I went and asked a simple question: how can I help? And that's how the door opened up. How can I be of assistance? I went in with accountability because I knew my grandson, he messed up. He did. He messed up. Whether it be innocent or not, he messed up. So, like I said, as everybody knows, I'm father of, deceased son, and his son is still, here. And, it falls to me to, be there for her mom and help her out. And he decided to shoot the dozens and, start capping with the kids. Well, like I said, he's not from that environment. Logan is not a street kid. He ain't a street kid at all, bro. He has that bravado, but trust me, he ain't a street kid. So street kid got his paperwork pretty much and went at him. When I got, hip to the situation, I went and sourced it. I said, how did he know about, my son, your father, being deceased? Because nobody, the adults did not know. No one in the school knew about it. This was not discussed.
Why not?
Because Logan was getting the help that he needed and it was not anything that was going on that needed to be talked about.
But it came up.
It came up because...
And then none of the parents, none of the adults were aware that it could come
No,
up.
hold on. When it came up, it was immediate. Hold on. Yeah, you got to get to it. Hold on. You got to get to it. Okay? It's not the fact that they weren't aware. It wasn't something for a family situation to discuss with the school. Hold on. Discuss with the school when he had specialist help that was surrounding him.
And the school shouldn't be made aware of the specialist
No.
help?
Listen, no. The school has to. It has IEP, bro.
Okay.
So he has one at the school.
Right.
He has one from, it travels with him.
Okay.
Okay, but what I'm saying, the general public, like the NTAs, like security guards.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like when I say school, I don't mean administration or anything like that. I'm talking about school, his peers, his peers, other people that are not central to his case.
So
he opened his mouth.
And
he opened, bro.
Did he say how he opened his mouth?
I didn't.
Was he confiding? See, kids confide in children their age.
Absolutely, they do.
Talk more to
listen.
Their age, right?
Absolutely, they do.
I've learned this, and I accept it because you're talking to someone. Now it's up to the kid their age not to be an attacker, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to be that listening source or that couch for them. Now, most kids don't know that.
See, Bryce, in a perfect world, in the world of what you're saying right now and how that happens, I get down with that. But in the wonderful world of Rich Blye, it's a little bit different because I anticipate that happening. Because I know that he's going to be in that type of world that's not going to be understanding about his situation or his trauma. I know that there's going to be people that's going to attack him for it because that's what people do. Okay? I say this, I'm going to say, like the 14-year-old that was here, okay? That's part of another story. See, I'm trying to make sure that people understand the connection that in my world, the trauma that I speak of and the examples that I give actually come from a place that everybody else is in, that is not a perfect world, but there are opportunities to balance things out by talking and having a conversation about it to get to some type of resolution through help, assistance, wraparound services, and then making sure that everybody comes out from this unscathed. In my world, with my children, I have always told them that this would happen. I don't say it can, I say it will. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. I don't live in a world of coulda, shoulda, woulda, maybes, the gray area. Everybody has a lot of gray. I don't have any of it. So when I talk to my children and when I talk to my grandkids, I give them the skinny. If you tell somebody that, your grandfather sells coconuts, and you don't want nobody to know that your grandfather sells coconuts, the only way they're going to find out that your grandfather sells coconuts is if you tell them. And that's what happened. Because that's what I asked him. I said, how did he know about your dad? We was out in the yard, and he was talking about my mom, and he was talking about my dad, and he was talking about my mom. I said, well, how did he know? Well, I told him. I said, there you go. You told him. I said, your information should have stayed with the administration. Your information should have stayed with the IEP. Your information should have stayed right where it is with the family. I said, so you have to own that. I said, we can't take that back. We can't do it. So I can't make an excuse for my grandson because as soon as he's met with resistance or some type of adversity in his life, he'll fold. He'll fold. And I think that's what people are so afraid of, is these children falling down and scraping their knee at the first little thing that comes out of somebody else's mouth. You got to get them ready for that. It's going to happen, bro.
That's why I say bullying is a necessary evil when you're a child. Now, I know people don't like it. Now, there are certain types of bullying that should not be allowed, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's gotten worse with our children now because bullying used to be is just in school. Now bullying follows you home, and if you have an Instagram page, it follows you to Instagram. So it's a constant 24-hour bullying, right? You open your phone, they bullying you. You go to school, they bullying you, right? So things different.
You know what?
I remember Chris Rock used to say this, right? He's like, "Ain't nothing wrong with a bully. That's how you learn how to stand up for yourself. If you're not tested, how will you know?
Right.
You know what I mean? If
right.
if you don't if the will doesn't come up against you, how do you know you have the fortitude to go against it?
Exactly. But here's the thing. It should come up once, and then there should be a mutual understanding. And I'm not saying once. It should come up once at each level and stage of a young man's life. It's going to happen in elementary school. You're going to get it in middle school. You're definitely going to get it in high school at some point, at some degree. But after that point, if you are at the elementary level with it and show that the bully really has no power, that the bully is just sad, or the bully has experienced trauma themselves, or the bully doesn't have the love of family, or the bully doesn't have, control of himself, or, whatever. I used to absolutely detest bullies, bro. Like, I was bullied as a kid.
I was bullied as a kid too.
No. But see, the way that I was bullied was that the way that I didn't expect it to be bullied because, again, I knew the family. And I never did anything to anyone in that family to like get it. And I guess that person just had a bad day and decided to say, tag, you're it. And I think that that's what we're having too much of when it comes to these factors of bullying, that is tag, you're it, and then you're it again, and then you're it again, and then you're it again, and you're it again. But now the bullying isn't creating any type of strength through adversity. It's creating the opposite effect, where these kids are growing up resentful and getting to a certain teenage year where they want to go get a weapon and go kill some people. As we are evidently seeing, he was a loner. The kids teased him a lot. We see it. Every day. So again, I hear that, but I'm on a counter with, I love the fact that Christiana School District answered my email. I love the fact that Dr. Hill circled back around to me and explained to me that she was not happy, that there was a certain disconnect about the fact that I was supposed to be given all the assistance I needed at her word. Yep. And I believe that because I told you I went to the first initial meeting over there back in January when, a lot of things were getting started with this. So for the folks out there on the podcast, when it comes to a child's education, explicitly mine, I was never the type of parent to tolerate any disrespect to any teacher. Listen, warranted or not, I always told my children that when it comes to an adult, especially at a school, as long as they're not telling you to break the law or do something against your own personal will, you're to respect and give them that respect of listening to what they say. Now, if you disagree with it, what you're supposed to do is bring your narrow parts home and tell me about it. Or tell mom about it. And then we contact the school, and then we have a conversation with an administrator or a teacher or, back in the day, the parents. And I understand now that you can't talk to nobody's parents because everybody's parent don't want to be an adult. They want to find some reason to point fingers as to why their kid didn't do what the video clearly shows. So, I don't have time. I understand why most school districts are shying away from those type of confrontational levels because that's very consistent in every day that they go on. I want to give a shout out to, again, a special member of the Christiana School District staff. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I get this right because this is outstanding for me. Miss Nicole Wheelton, the assistant dean over at the Pritchett Academy, was hit in the neck with a chair. The assistant dean today. And I'm putting that out there because she stayed to have the meeting with me because she felt as though it was important to talk to me directly. Shout out to that teacher. Shout out to that strong-willed woman for giving a doggone not only about what was going on and breaking up a fight in her school, but also for staying to give me the personal time that was necessary to work out this conflict and come to a resolution for my grandson. People don't understand what that means to me, and I want her to know personally from the bottom of my heart that that's a certain dedication that will always be talked about when it comes to anybody that's in education, and it deserves to be talked about. So, you know, Ms. Wilson, I know you ain't looking for those accolades, but I told you how I get down. I'm very truthful. I'm very honest when it comes to the education of children and the strength that you teachers have all over, whether what school district that has been, no matter my past experience, whether it's been pleasant or been, you know, sometimes difficult. We had a big laugh about that. We got some resolution of what I'm looking for and the direction that we're going to move forward. Now, when I talk about this, these were women, black and white, who understood the assignment, who understood who was standing in front of them, who understood the need for me to be connected not only to my grandson, but to his academics and to his behavior and to how I can help with my grandson, who's obviously experiencing trauma at this point in time. And as I tell everybody, when it comes to me and this child in particular, our trauma is connected. There will be no separation ever. And that's part of my trauma, is knowing that for whom the bell tolls, I have to make impact with him every day. Every day. So for a lot of folks out there watching on cmpradio.net, the wonderful world of Rich Blye, it's Men's Mental Health Monday. And these are some of the things that we go through in our efforts to ensure the safety, the education, and the legacy is continued in a certain way according to the same American value for which we all stand for. So what, I have to drive 45 minutes from here where I live to Wilmington. So what? That shouldn't stop me. 45 minutes worth of time and driving to go over and talk for 30 minutes to get a resolution that's beneficial not only for the school, so that my grandson isn't labeled as a disciplinary problem, because we all know how that goes down. It starts at the elementary school level, and then it continues on because it gets to the next level, because there are no safeguards, guardrails, gatekeepers, and guardians all around children who have suffered early childhood trauma. And when we don't do what is necessary based upon what we learn ourselves as adults, then that's why I keep saying we're surrounded by stupid people, bro. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any letters in front of my name or behind my name, but I'm going through it. I got to talk to people that have the letters, bro. You know what I'm saying? And when they talk to me and tell me and give me not a diagnosis or a prognosis or anything like that, it's more of a, you're there, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? That's the gist that I get, is that I wrestle so hard every day with the conscionable and the unconscionable, bro. And every day, like Pat Benatar said, love is a battlefield. I have to find a way to love, bro. I have to find a way. Find a way. And for all of those who might be new to my podcast, Men's Mental Health Monday is a day for reflection and an example as to someone who is willing to sacrifice against the stigma and a sacrifice against the snickering and sacrifice against the, Facebook, oh, you a punk, you were this, you were that, you were this. And I keep saying to people, you will not say that to my face. We all know that. A lot of people know that. Everybody get the gist. I'm not the strongest guy. I'm not nobody's, I don't do none of that. But it takes courage to acknowledge that you have a problem. it takes courage to, on a weekly basis, come and share with you through analysis, through research, my own journey that I share with you publicly. I have my own family on here, my kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no closed topic when it comes to this. And I think that that's where we have to remove the stigma by showing the example that a strong black man can talk to you about trauma. A strong black man can tell to you that something hurt him, but it didn't hurt me to the point where it made me go, oh, I'm hurt. It hurt me to the point where it stung. And it was a castration of my spirit. And I don't like that. I don't like when people pretend to love you, bro. And when I see on the outside, they ain't giving you no love, no joy, no respect, no nothing. We're going to get to that too. Because I saw the pictures, baby. Listen, I keep trying to tell people, don't mess with me. I keep trying to tell people, don't show me a window and think I can't climb into it. Like Pookie. On Friday. Yo. But hold on, man. Hold on. Let me segue into this. I just want to say this. I want to say this to every person that I spoke to over there, and I'm going to end it with that. Thank you so much for easing my concerns. It really does mean a lot to me with the administration of the Christiana School District answering my emails. It really meant a lot that the principal circled back around to ensure that all bases were covered. I had great conversations with everybody that's involved. I understand that now I'm going to have no more unfettered access whatsoever for the rest of the school year, so that way we can all exit out to the summer without my grandson being part of any of the shenanigans or moving it forward. That's what I'm supposed to do. Shut it down. Make no excuses. Shut it down. Find a way to work with the school, and hopefully they'll work with the other parent, with the other children that are involved. I don't want to get into the ticky-tacky he said, the kid stuff. No. Do me a favor. Just shut it down with my grandson. And if you can't shut it down, my telephone number is call me right away. Pull him out of the classroom, dial my number, it's your grandfather, and walk off. I got it from there. You will see an immediate correction immediately. And if you don't see that immediately, I know you are 45 minutes away, and my grandson knows that too, because he was not expecting me to pick him up from the YMCA today. Haha. Pop always pops up, grandson. You remember that when you review this podcast later on in life. All right, real quick. I see that you guys see that I have on a very brightly colorful shirt. Let's see if you can get all of that. Have to check it out. Make sure you get all of it. That is a back piece to it too. This is the dad shirt. And the dad shirt is an inspired. Hold on a second. I got people hitting me up while I'm doing my podcast. They don't know what's going on with this. And I just want to say that this is the first of many designs that you're about to see me wear. And I will be sharing the links on my page so that way you can make a purchase and support the brand new companies that I am going to help finance and invest in for the artwork and their work. So let me tell you about this shirt, the artist that inspired it, and why I was the first person, and I'm proud of this shirt, to get it. This material, this is not a press on. This is all the way around. It's all the way around. It's machine washable. Beautiful feel. And when I tell you that it fits, oh, I love it. So the artist is Anton Wardlaw, Wardlaw. Antoine Wardlaw is a creative entrepreneur and music producer from West Philly. Known for blending music, culture, and design, he is the founder of the Melanin Society, a lifestyle brand that celebrates creativity, culture, unity, and empowerment through fashion and art. As a producer, Antoine creates music across multiple genres, including hip-hop, trap, boom bap, R&B, and pop, using his sound to express the same cultural energy that inspires his brand. His work reflects the spirit of West Philly, resilient, creative, and always evolving. Through Melanin Society, Antoine combines music, visual art, and streetwear to build a movement focused on cultures, creativity, wealth, power, and the future with legacy. Now, I know this young man personally. But hold on, before I tell you about how I know this young man personally and why I'm going to ask you to support and help this young man build his brand new project, is because I know him personally. I know where he's come from. I know where he's at. And I know where he would like to go. And I know that he's ready. I know that he's ready. Antoine Wardlaw, again, is through his music and his brand, his mission is to build platforms that inspire creativity and highlight the power of culture. His work reflects a vision of community, progress, and artistic freedom, showing that creativity can become both a voice and a movement. When I saw him put this up on his page, I knew I had to have it. It just resonated with me that he made a shirt for a father. And I'm going to tell you why I love this young man. I've known Mr. Wardlaw. I know he's always been about the beats and let me tell you, that boy can make some beats. You need to get in. If you really, really, really want to get down with this young man, I'm telling you, hot. I know a lot of artists. You guys have seen me bring artists out and have them do different things at different times, whether it be comedians, whether it be rap artists. This man, like I said, is a producer. He's a young, married father whose kids I adore. But let me tell you something. That's just not the measure of this man. This man comes from the same sort of traumas as everyone else. And I've known him since he was a teenager with those traumas. And he's someone I'm very, very proud of, like a son. Let me say that again. Antoine Wardlaw, I love you like a son, brother. I always knew that you had it in you to do. I knew that no matter all of your circumstances, and there's been many, and I'm not going to put it out there, that's your business. But I've known you since those circumstances, and I watch you grow, and I watch you build, and I watch you get the things that mean the most to you. So I'm proud to support your brand by being the first person to make a purchase off of it. Melanin Society, hold on. Hopefully I will get all of that information back to him because I just got this at the last possible minute. I keep trying to tell people when I got to do stuff, I got to do stuff. Come on, hurry up. So hold on a second. I'll be able to find it in a minute, and I'll have it for you. All right, hold on. I can tell you exactly where to go and find what you're looking for as far as the example of the shirt that I'm wearing myself, okay? Melanin Society Stained Glass Collection is more than apparel. It's wearable art that represents unity, creativity, and the beauty of culture, inspired by vibrant stained glass windows. Every piece reflects bold colors and powerful symbolism. Hold on a second. I want to make sure that okay. So where you would find it is at Melanin. That's M3L6N9N Society. And I'm looking at the products right now. There are women's items. There are Cushion Crew socks. They have unisex shirts. They've got kids foam clogs. They got the tank top unisex tank tops. They got women's slide sandals. They got the Freedom Velvety plush blanket. Oh, I might have to cop that, bro. You playing with me. How many times I got to tell you, son, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I'm telling you, the Juneteenth duality. Yes, sir. Yes, son. Yes, son. I like that. Heavy as the crown unisex top. Again, there's a hoodie with the melanin built for motherhood. This, like I said, please, please, please go to M3L6N9N Society. When you look that up, you'll see the beginning of a company that is absolutely young, black owned, a young man who's trying to absolutely make his way through the world and navigate it by going through entrepreneurship for the first time. And we need to stay very, very, very much in tune with our young people and be very, very, very much in support of what they're doing, because for whom the bell tolls. And that's the topic of it. I know people thought that I was going to be in here talking about Ernest Hemingway and talking about death. For whom the bell tolls is a signal. It tolls for everyone. And at a certain point of our life, we have to get a wake-up call, and we have to ensure the fact that we, not only are we prepared for the inevitable, but we have left a legacy and a foundation in which our children, our families, or even our communities can stand on. And that's what my life has been about for the past several years. It's trying to establish a legacy and a foundation, not only for my children, but now for my community. And not only my community, but the community at large. And not only the community at large, but for those who may later on in life do a Google search and might want to write a report and might want to, do something. But when we're living in this time where we're silencing people for speaking or withholding people from history, that bell's going to toll. And that's the death knell that we all feel here in America and, of course, around the world. Because we absolutely, absolutely don't understand the connectivity that we have to our mortality to one another. It signifies that all humanity is interconnected, that the death of any person diminishes us all, making every death a serious concern. Interconnectivity. When those connections are broken, we all feel the pain. Maybe not directly, but there is always collateral damage. And I had to learn that. I never expected to be a father who would have to bury a child, let alone two. And if you keep asking me, how do I explain the way that I get up every day to combat it, I'm going to tell you, especially on Men's Mental Health Mondays, I tell everybody the same thing. I know that pain is going to hit me. I know that pain is coming because every day I miss my sons. Every day. There's not a day that doesn't go by that it bothers the hell out of me that I can't call my son Rel. And I can't bust it up with him and hear his rap. That I can't go by and hang out with him and have a beer with him. Or stop by his job. And just bust it up. Just bust it up. Every day, I think about what could have been had my son not ran out of time. Had he had came back home. Had he had sought the safety that I could have provided regardless of who was after him. If somebody was coming for him, if somebody was coming for my son and I knew about it beforehand, I would have gotten that thing stopped. You can trust me on that one. But I blame myself for not having that opportunity, for not being able to rescue him. And I had to let that go. I couldn't blame myself for choices that my son made. But I'm stuck with the consequences of it. And that involves a 9-year-old boy. So it's a little bit different to maneuver with, where you want to let things just go, but you got a 9-year-old boy that's looking at you as a new hero, who sees you as his personal hero, who calls you and says pop certain things and pop up certain things, and you know, and we laugh and we joke, and you know, we spend lots of quality time together. We go bowling, you know, we go go-karting. We go and do these things because the connectivity through the death of his father creates a void that must be filled by a next of kin. And I'm it. Of course he has uncles. Of course he has aunts. But, you know, the uncles are busy. They have lives. The daughters are busy. They have lives. Pop-Up's not busy. Pop-Up is not busy. And like I said, that's no slight to my children. It's just that I'm not busy. And I'm glad that I'm not busy enough to be able to handle things with his life so that way we can move over. We are all one in Christ, in life and in death. In life and in death, we are all one. And we have to get to that because why? We're celebrating America. America 250 Delco. 250 years celebrating the Constitution of the United States. You got FIFA World Cup coming. Do you have your entrepreneurial plans together like I spoke about back in January, back in February, back in this past March? April's leaving. May's coming up. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to take control of your financial life through entrepreneurship with all of the events that are coming? For who the bell tolls, don't get caught out not being able to make some money this year in this quincentennial year. Have a plan. Get out there. It's no excuse. For who the bell tolls, that bell's ringing. It's ringing. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. It's an alarm clock. Wake up. Just saying. We still got time, folks. We still have time. Because we got a generation underneath us that is going to be challenged. A generation underneath us that, yes, has certain leverages and certain support systems within their own era. But if you're not paying attention and noticing, my generation, they're leaving the planet. I have never seen so many people in the age group of 50 perish so quickly, all up and down the planet. If you look at the age of most of the people who have left this planet recently, they are in the 55 to 60 something age group. That's my group. So I have to be conscious of my own mortality and what I impress upon people. Like I said, I don't have letters in front of my name. I don't have letters behind my name. But what I talk about is the realism of what we're dealing with, folks. And we got to stop pretending, especially in our culture, because this is the excuse. Our children are using the excuses of your timidness or your inability to parent. If you need help, say so, because you're only going to make it worse. I knew that, hey, my grandson needs some help. Yes, he does. So I asked for it, because I'm not above asking for help. When I needed help, I asked for it. Now, all my friends know that I'm going to exhaust everything about myself first before I ask for help. But more times, 9 times out of 10, that's the challenge for me to get it done, so I don't have to ask for help. But it's very nice to know that there are people who love me and care about me enough to support me. If I ever got to that point, they will not let me fall. And I'm very humble and appreciative of that type of love that I receive from all of my friends. Because, like I said, I lost a very good friend of mine this weekend, or had to celebrate his life this weekend. Someone I grew up with, somebody I partied with when I was out there, someone that I just sit back and just had conversations with, diehard Eagles fan, you know, so we had a whole bunch of stuff alike. Like I said, he was uncle to my children, and he's 3 years younger than I am. And I understand it's always God's will for those who have to tarry home. But I'm still only human. So, you know, while I understand it, it still leaves a very, very, very conscionable void that I have to remember that for no fault of my own, I could possibly be next. So I need to be prepared. So I'm prepared with my soul, of course. I know where I'm spending eternity. You don't have to convince me. We don't even have to debate my source of what I believe. You know, that's undebatable. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. And for all of those who have joined me, please don't debate me on the subject of my faith. I don't have a religion. I am not religious. I have a faith. I have a belief. faith. I have a belief. And that faith is manifested through a belief that I carry on my body every single day and knowing the circumstances of it. So you can't tell me how wonderful my God is. You can't tell me that he doesn't exist, and you can't tell me to stop loving him. So there you go. There you have it. Okay? Love you. But again, we have a lot of different events that we're coming up to for this summer. Okay? And hold on. I want to get to a certain event. I want to get to a certain event that really means the world to me. As soon as I find it real quick, hold on, I got to pull it up. See, like I said, I'm always prepared, but for some odd reason, I'm just not prepared today. Why is that? That's because I've been rushing around. Normally, I have everything set and just come right out and go, and a lot of people who watch my program, this is the most disorganized that you'll probably see me in a while. I'm gonna get it together by next week. I promise you. I'm sorry, folks. It's been a heck of a week of just moving and shaking and like I said, doing different things and experiencing life. Okay, here we go. I got it. Here we go. I got it. You guys ready? Da 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 da. CMP Radio Foundation presents Fusion Fridays from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, there are locations. So, for June 26th, starting June 26th at the Access Center with DJ Wayne Stacks from 4 to 8, Fusion Friday. July 10th at Chester Park, DJ Najee B from 4 to 8 p.m., Fusion Friday. July 24th, Sun Village Park, DJ Shady, Fusion Fridays from 4 to 8 p.m. August the 7th, Memorial Park, DJ Doughboy, Fusion Fridays from 4 to 8 p.m. And August the 21st, Station Block Party, DJ Delarue, Fusion Fridays from 4 to 8 p.m. Here's what you're getting. You're getting giveaways, raffles, and more. You're getting community leader shout outs because we're going to embrace the community with these Fusion Fridays and make sure that we pour the excellent into all of our great community partners, all of these valuable nonprofits, all of these icons living in Chester, all of our past icons that have been absolutely memorialized through dedications with streets with their names on. Shout out to Chester for naming these streets after black icons. Shout out to you, Chester. I'm serious. See, now you can't take it back. That's identity. See, you can't take the street back. The street now belongs an important part of legacy. So when people look up, when the family look up and the descendants of that family look up, they're going to remember this time that the city in which these folks were born in loved them enough to make sure that the street is renamed in the honor of these black icons of Chester. I can't be more proud of the city of Chester right now and this current administration that's making that happen. That is absolutely wonderful. So again, fun for all ages, all ages. Don't just drop your kid off. You can stay too. Spotlights on labor, trades, and entrepreneurship. We are all about making sure and gravitating our children to be self-starters, self-sufficient, and do for self. No, we do not want all of our children to have to go through and get debts and student loan and be in student loan debt. And maybe that's not your niche and maybe that's boring to you, blah, blah, blah. But we got to make sure that you have something. So let's find out how we can turn what you like into making $1. So that's what entrepreneurship basically is. What do you want to do with the rest of your life that helps you stay grounded in what your creativity is and if it can sustain you financially? It's a wonderful thing. vendors and nonprofit resource tables, face paintings, games, and activities for kids. You heard all of the live DJs. We got 5 different DJs on all of these different weeks. Free water, ice, pretzels, and snacks. And of course, we'll be shouting out all of those involved. Make sure that if you would like to volunteer, please email us at info@cmpradio.net. That is volunteers. Volunteers. You know what a volunteer is? Somebody that shows up and says, what do you need me to do? Send that email in. Come on out here. Be supportive. If you don't have to go anywhere and you're out there with your kids, hey, and you can volunteer for the day, we'll find a way that you can help out. Most of these kids know each other anyway out here in Chester. All of these families, y'all know each other anyway. So I don't see what the problem is. Y'all know y'all families. Y'all know who's who in the world to be, especially out here in Chester. Chester's big, but it ain't that big. Chester's spread out, but it ain't that big. And everybody know everybody. And you do. Everybody know everybody. Stop playing. Once you say a family name, y'all know who's cousin and who that and who does what. Stop playing. That's the way it's always been. Like in certain other cities, you're not going to get it like that. It's not something that you can absolutely hope to attain to. Chester's very unique because of its proximity, because of its closeness to being a black city. So you have to absolutely understand that you guys can absolutely make a difference without really any hard effort. Okay? So we absolutely do need volunteers. Now, let's see what else we got going on. Usually I have a whole list on, like I said, a whole list of what's going on, but let's go at the county level. At the county level, I do believe that they are still looking for an opening on their Commission for Immigrant Affairs, which advocates for immigrants across Delco by reviewing and recommending things to council, county departments to address the needs for immigrants. The deadline is May 8th. You can contact Delaware County Council. So let's see what else that we have going on elsewhere. Anything local that I can talk about in my neck of the woods? Yes, we have a youth career fair coming up on May the 2nd. That youth career fair is sponsored by my Pennsylvania State Rep, Gina H. Curry. And that youth career fair is going to be at the Beverly Hills Middle School at 1400 Garrett Road, Upper Darby. They'll have summer jobs, youth training programs, apprenticeships, and that is from ages 14 to 24. While attending the career fair, please visit the Upper Darby Police Department Public Safety Girls Summit and learn about jobs in emergency services. This is all are welcome. All are welcome. So it doesn't say that you have to live in a certain area. It doesn't say that you have to be from a certain area. Apparently this is state help. So all are welcome. It doesn't say anything about identification or anything like that, but it's going to be at the Beverly Hills Middle School on May the 2nd. So a youth career fair, if you are looking for your child to be employed or you need help with youth training programs and other summer jobs, let's get our kids busy. Let's get them active. You have access. And as always, folks, when you get information from me, do me a favor, please. Share it. Sharing is caring. It doesn't matter who's in power. Stop it. Stop it. It doesn't matter who's in power. It doesn't matter. This whole color thing is like colors. Like, iced tea stuff. This whole red versus blue thing. Like my rose red and my diamonds blue. Never thought that we'd be arguing over color, but here we are. But at any rate, there's a youth and career fair coming up. Hold on. See, I got some other stuff coming up right now, but let's get to my all-time favorite reading once again of a program that's near and dear to my heart that's happening at your Upper Darby American Legion. At the Upper Darby American Legion at 6914 Chestnut Street, every Tuesday from 3:30 until 6 o'clock, we have the Black G.A.L Global Afro Line Dance Exchange. And this Black Gal Global Afro Line Exchange is to unify black girls through dances from around the world to diffuse tension, colorism, and divisiveness through dance. The girls will embrace the beauty of their natural complexion, hair, and learn to embrace one another throughout the diaspora through rhythm and dance. Through this club, young women will learn more about unity, sisterhood, modest dressed, and self-empowerment of being a black girl. Embracing the beauty of ourselves as naturally as you are. This is not anti-anything. This club is for black girls to have something of their own, independently, to do what they do to bring themselves together, understanding and seeing similarities between each other in the diaspora. They will learn also some certain skills such as crocheting, sewing, cooking, etc. Classes will be determined on Sundays, starting with me and several other guest chefs that I will be bringing on. And of course, you, Chef Lamont, I have not forgotten you. I'll be in touch. Health benefits of dancing, such as improving cardiovascular endurance, mobility, flexibility while boosting cognitive function, memory, and mood as a versatile, low-impact activity. This will enhance balance and coordination that reduces stress and anxiety and fosters social connections. Regular dancing can also aid in weight loss and improve bone density. Dance keeps us connected to our roots and our culture while healing through movement. This is every Tuesday from 3:45 until 6 o'clock p.m. However long that they want to do it, doesn't bother me. The location, again, is at the Upper Darby American Legion Post 214 at 6914 Chestnut Street. The person that you contact her name is Miss A. Yes, Miss A. At 484-466304. Please make sure to be respectful when you are talking to my dance instructor. Please. Thank you. This location has security and HD cameras. Parents, you are welcome to stay on the premises. Now, you're welcome to stay, but you're not welcome to participate. Let these girls do their thing. Please allow my instructor to do her thing. If you have any questions, make sure you contact her afterwards, and please not in the presence of your children. Do not usurp the authority that has been placed upon her in front of your kids. Don't do it, because I promise you, I'm the sponsor of this. I'm the sponsor. We want this to be right. So please, I can't tell people what to do, but I can tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not having it. I promise you, I'm not having it. And you'll be able to go back and say, oh, he told me. Yes, I did. And I will admit to it. And I will not care, because we're creating something, we're building something, and we want something that's different. And this is what the girls asked for. This is when I sat down and talked to them, and I said, what kind of class do you want to have? Before we wrote this up, before this, became a contract, before any flyer went out, we made sure to talk to the ladies and say, what do you want? They want privacy. They want respect for their privacy. They want respect for their bodies. They want respect to be creative and do it in a safe place where there's no judgment. They want the one person that brought them together. That's Miss A. They want Miss A. So I know that some of you may know how to dance and probably have danced and probably have taught dance. Thank you. If you wish to consult with Miss A, if you bring your child in and wish to talk to her about some things, maybe she'll be inclusive and always listen. I know she's a very good person to listen, but I'm going to say this very gently. As this grows, I'm going to say it from the beginning to the end. She's in charge. End of story. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. All right. Next topic. Hold on. What's our next topic? Punching bag status. Do you know that many people in their trauma, this is Men's Mental Health Mondays on cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester, the wonderful world of Rich Blye, that many people feel as though that we get blamed by the youth for being apathetic, cynical, or complicit in the systematic problems of why they're not being successful? Well, that's called a punching bag status. Because, again, we have given the best of what we have with the limited amount of resources that we obtained, but we broke down barriers and walls for these children to obtain greater. No generation has had access to greater fulfillment and achievement than the ones that come after Gen X. I'm going to say it again. No generation has ever had the amount of access to success and moving forward with fulfillment than the generations after Gen X. And the reason why I say that, in my humble opinion, this is not based upon some fact that I'm pulling somewhere. In my humble opinion, is that you've had access to the internet, that you understand how it works, that you're very savvy with it, with what you want to search for, what you want to look for, what you want to accomplish, if you want to use it for a certain type of means to either promote yourself or get at somebody with revenge. You know how the apps work. You know how all of these operating systems work. You know. And you know that you can use this platform to make money. And you know that people have shown you how you can get money with all of these apps in different types of ways. This is why I'm saying that the years and years and years of excusable behavior as to why we cannot use these things or we don't have access when our kids are online and they're in more porn sites than the adults, using your account information, by the way, adults. See, we need a reunification of values. Thank you, Dr. Hill. We need a reunification of values. We need a reunification of values so we can get down to the nitty gritty, so we can tell you guys from our end over here what's really going on. And then you can tell us from your end what's really going on. And everybody can start having this conversation, this little round table about what's going on. And then we can take the manageable, achievable results from these meetings and implement them into the reunification of the family value. Now, if anybody comes on here conservatively or liberally, I'm going to say this to both of you. I have heard so many conservatives and seen so many conservatives talking about, oh, they don't want it, and everybody don't. Our community is not everybody. And as for liberals who say, oh, well, they can't get this and they can't get that. Wrong. We can get whatever we put our minds to. If we want to do foolishness, trust me, it ain't really a thought. It's just an action. Somebody just needs to throw a chair. But if we really want to bring people together, if we really want to have actionable clauses, you've seen the example too. Chester has seen the example last year. And I pray that Chester, that you do the same thing this year that you did last year. I don't care who's running for state rep. I don't care who's running for mayor. Keep your nonprofits working. That is the key to your success last year, Chester. All of your nonprofits that wanted to work went to work. They went to work. You got to applaud that. Every group. I don't need to call everybody out. Y'all know what y'all did. Y'all know what y'all did, and I know what you did too. Because you had programs from morning, afternoon, and in the evening. And you had it covered 5 days a week. And let me tell you something. I have never seen that in any community, not the community that I came from. That's called collaborative work. Collaborative. You didn't have to work succinctly together. You just had to cover the next phase and the next time slot. You didn't have to pitch your tent next to the person, even though I saw a lot of tents that were pitched next to each other, and I love the camaraderie. But the time slots were filled. These kids had access. There was no hate of, oh, you don't support this political platform, or I don't like this person because they live on the east side. There was none of that. Get that silliness and keep that silliness out of your community, Chester. Build on your success. You guys got a lot more going on. Everybody want to talk dirty about Chester, and yeah, we've had some incidences that was close to Chester, Marcus Hook, Linwood. Yeah, we had some instances in Chester and everything like that. But again, it's always the negative that gets highlighted by media. But when we come on this platform, the platform that you should be paying attention to with all of our content creators and people with different news stories of the day and the week, relevant news stories, this is where you find out your information. This is what you find out about what's really going down with Chester. This is where your trusted source is, because guess what? You know the people that are content creators. You see them. You see the restaurateurs that come here. You see the Delva sisters that talk, and everybody knows that, hey, their content is great. The Cut Up podcast is great. All of our content creators have something to offer at this station, but it doesn't grow without you. Chester, you're very unique. Stay that way. In a very positive way. Stay that way. You're a force to be welcomed with. I guarantee you, people are going to be hitting up the mayor. Well, what is Rich Blye talking about? And he's going to be happy to explain his administrative plan for rescuing the streets of Chester. As he should be. He's going to explain his administrative process of how he's improved the image of Chester. Yes, guys, your image is improved. Don't take that for granted. Don't just go, oh, well, you know, better to have. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because a lot of you worked hard for this for a lot of years when you got no budge, when you got no assistance, or you were turned down. Please build off of the success that you're experiencing right now, Chester. Don't go backwards. Don't go backwards. See, that's what happened to us in our black communities. We go backwards. We get a good thing, and then a couple people, I don't like. Well, on May 13th, there's a State of the City address. And if you go on the City of Chester government page, you can sign up through the Q Square and be one of 200 people to be there live to hear about the state of Chester and what type of improvements are coming your way underneath this administration. And not only that, it'll be live streamed, and not only that, it'll be videotaped for future posterity and questions that you can ask at your council meetings. Look at that, Chester. You got access 4 different ways. Again, if we eliminate the excuses of why you're not knowledgeable, if we eliminate the excuses as to why you're lazy and won't put the effort in, then you can improve yourself. All you have to do is hold yourself accountable, get up off your lazy, and go out there and go get some. And I know people say, oh, it's not that hard. It's not that easy, Rich Blye. You could do it. I can tell you right now, I was one of those hard-headed people too. I sure was. How many times I got to say, I was more content and happy to be in a fish cutter. I was the best fish cutter that the fish cutter company ever had. I'm the best. I'm the best fish cutter. I was proud of that. Proud. I can fillet, I can debone, I can take this, I can fricassee fry it, I can flour it, I can skillet it. Low IQ, low expectations, low self-esteem. That was me. I'm serious. I'm not even joking about that. That was me. That's all I knew. And that's all I thought that I was going to know, because I felt as though I'm making money. Until the bills got higher and the pressure got stronger, and you start growing older and you start realizing that you're not the best fish cutter. You're just a fish cutter. And then that longing nags at you and says, wait a minute. I'm more than a fish cutter. Why am I still cutting fish? Why are people getting promoted past me? How come I'm not moving up in the ranks? Because I was working a job where the employer wanted me in that spot. That's all the employer thought of me. I thought more of my employer than I did for myself. True story. I did. But I have to thank God that the experience of understanding and coming to that revelation that I wasn't going to move up in the ranks with this particular company, that I had a conversation with the owner, and he gave me the best piece of advice for my career. He said, Rich, I'm not holding you hostage. He wasn't mean about it. He was matter of fact about it. If you have an opportunity, go get it. And I did. And thank God that I did. Because I wouldn't be able to sit here right now doing what I do, because that was the jump off, man. 1999. Thank God for that number. Thank God for that number. Woo-wee. Because my career took off. No more fish cutter. No more fish guts. Instead, I decided to embrace this corporate life, and I never looked back. Thank goodness for that. Gave me the best experience of my life, taught me a lot about people, places, and things, and it gave me a fresh new outlook, and it helped me to travel. Yes, it did. And we all know that once your horizons get expanded, that your mind starts to elevate. And that's where we have to get our children. We have to get them to an elevation of their melanation. We have to elevate and melanate these kids and let them absorb the strength of the sun. But it's going to take a strong village in different areas other than Chester. It's going to take an understanding in Upper Darby Township and in Collindale and in different areas where the black community is still underserved. But it also is going to take the parents to have themselves accountable and your children accountable. This is why I have to be the strict person that I have to be when it comes to my programs, because I know that you're not strict with your kids. And the one thing that I'm not going to do with a free program is just allow you to come in here and have the freedom to wreck it because it's free. It's mine to give. It's mine to give. So that means that if your child cannot behave in one of our free programs, they will be asked to leave, because I'm not doing it. That you can save it for your schools, you can save it for your churches, you can save it for your other organizations. Come correct. Point blank, come correct. I'm saying it from the beginning. I'll say it to your face when you come in. I'll say it to your child. And you don't like it, you don't have to join. I'm not saying it in a mean way, but I want the standard to be set from the very beginning that we're about saving real lives. And we're real serious about it. And we can smile and we can joke and we can dance and we can laugh after that. But, first the contract, because that's a contract that we have here. And not only first the contract, an understanding that the person standing in front of you, I don't take no shorts. And I don't pass none out either. I don't pass the buck. And no, the buck don't stop with me. The buck's going to stop with you. Because you're in control in the situation of your children. And if you are not in control of the situation of your children, it is not my responsibility to babysit. I don't babysit nobody's kids. No, you had kids. I don't babysit my kids. They're my kids. That's not babysitting. Oh, what about your that's not babysitting. Those are my grandchildren. They're human beings. That's not babysitting. We need to understand that we are all one in Christ in life and death. So with that being said, I'm going to dedicate the last couple of minutes in memory of my good friend, my right-hand guy. Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. Like I said, sorry about that, guys. I normally am right on time with my stuff, but it's been a heck of a 2 weeks. So, at any rate, let me read you the life of my brother so you can understand the type of people I roll with. On April 9th, 2026, the earthly life story of Andre Dion Payette came to an end. It started on July 21st, 1970. Andre Dion Payette was born July 21st, 1970, and departed this life on April 9th, 2026. He was born to Forrest Yvonne Payette and Larry Donnell Bellamy. Andre received his early education in the Philadelphia Public Schools and later graduated from Myrtle Beach High School. After graduation, he proudly enlisted in the United States Navy, where he began a life of service, discipline, and excellence. In June 1990, he completed Electrician's Mate Class A school, beginning a skilled career in the electrical field. During his military service, Andre earned several honors and commendations, including the Navy Unit Commendation Ribbon, the Southwest Asia Service Medal with 2 Bronze Stars, the Kuwait Liberation Medal, the Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, the Special Operations Service Ribbon, and the National Defense Service Medal. In 1992, he became a certified journeyman electrician, further building on his commitment to his craft. After his military service, Andre continued his education and training by attending the Hillsborough Community College in the Electrical Apprenticeship Journeyman Program. He also completed the Independent Electrical Contractors Program from 2000 to 2003, graduating in electrical installation, conduit bending, schematics, and blueprint reading. Andre worked for several companies throughout his career, including Rogers Electrical LLC and Jareth Manufacturing. His last place of employment was Purina in Allentown, installing transformers, troubleshooting equipment, and maintaining machinery. He was respected for his knowledge, strong work ethic, and dedication to doing the job right. Andre was a happy person who truly loved life. He enjoyed being around his family and friends and was known for being the joy he brought to others. He loved to dance. Yes, he did. And he had a spirit that could brighten any room. I know that a lot of people say that he had a spirit that can brighten any room. All of us knew that we hung with Dre. Once we paid the fee to get in the door, we had to go find him. And usually it was a crowd surrounding him while he was either dancing or yeah. His presence, his laughter, and love will be deeply, deeply missed by all who knew him. I'm not going to read the family members' names. I know a lot of you are not going to know them, but I'll keep that on our hearts. His life was one of service, hard work, love, and joy. His legacy will live on in the hearts of his family, friends, and all who were blessed to know him. And the reason why I say that is because he did build a legacy, because he did serve this country. And you guys know how I feel about veterans. Even before I met some of you, even before I became a commander of the Sons at the Upper Darby American Legion, my father served and a lot of my uncles served. But like I said, a lot of my friends, my close personal friends, served. And it's always through that type of relationship of commitment, of dedication, and hard work that drives me on. So, Dre, you're added to the people that I got to keep moving forward in memory of. And I'm proud to say that I'm going to make sure that in the near future that there's going to be something in your name that is going to be presented as an award or something, bro. But I'm going to make sure that there's some type of legacy for all the work that you did growing up in Logan, growing up in the Germantown section, growing up in the streets, 15th Street. You know how we did it. You know what we survived. You know what we've been through together. And I'm going to miss you, bro. So I dedicate this time to you right now in this moment, because a lot of us, you know, we bury our friends for whom the bell tolls, but we suffer through the trauma of missing them and not speaking on how that person's life really, really meant to us. And like I said, everybody can't do what I do and just be forthcoming and deal with that pain like right here and right now and really, really fresh and do it live, and knowing that this is never going to go away, that this is going to be very, very public, and that anybody can come in and probably, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about from my experience. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give advice. I'm not here to medically diagnose anybody based upon their condition. All I can do is talk to you about how I feel. And that's the purpose of the wonderful world of Rich Blye, is talk about how I feel, but how I feel is relevant to the pain, relevant to the triumphs that all of us go through. And I hope it resonates with a lot of people in a lot of different ways to help them find the balance of their lives and give themselves an ability to create these platforms of courage and triumph so you can leave a legacy for your children. I love this shirt, man. I like, this is the most comfortable shirt that I've had on in a while. Like, I literally just put this on today. I went, like I said, I went and had my meeting over at my grandson's school, and I literally just put it on when I went in there. I was, I knew that I had to get here to the show, but I'm just sitting here and I'm like, man, I feel comfortable. Like this shirt really feels great. Make sure that you're checking my son's stuff out, man. Melanin Society. It's spelled a little bit different, but you'll get it. You might as well use that, son. It's spelled a little bit different, but you'll get it. Okay. Well, folks, I'm about to close this segment out, but I'm also going to leave you with one more thing. Hold on. What is it? Guys, I'm sorry. I'm absolutely unprepared today. This is so not like me. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what I need. I need some sleep. I need a whole lot of sleep. Hold on. Where has my underdog gone? Hold on a second. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Did I find it? Did I find it? Did I find it? Nope. I missed it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm really supposed to have my stuff together today, and I'm trying to keep trying to tell you, it's just one of those days where, everything is supposed to be like right, spot on, and today it just wasn't that day. Just wasn't that day, but it's gonna be all right. Because you know why? Because you can't change yesterday, and you can't do anything for tomorrow. But like I woke up today and I had no pockets. So it was just like I was being born. I did a stretch up my morning yawning like I was breathing in the ether on the moment of my birth. And I realized that not only was I unclothed, but I had no money. And not only did I not have any money, at that point, I'm vulnerable. So as I proceed to get ready for my day and shower and clothe and eat and say my prayers and get ready for my day, I realized that I just armored myself to go out into a world that has me destined for failure, but I'm equipped to win. I, in my trauma and in this pain that I face, realize that I need to win the day. That's all I can do. And I learned that secret. And I'm understanding that secret. Win today. I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. God willing, I am looking forward to having a tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. I can't go back and get it. There's no such thing as leftovers when it comes to yesterday. You can't go back and get anything part of it. You can't go back and get time. You can't take back something you said or did. It's done. All the more reason why we can't stay stuck in the past. All the more reason why we need to always constantly move forward. All the more reason why we need to stand on the backs of the giants who have gone before us. All the more reason why to hold firm to the promise to work diligently together collectively, to be determined, to have that ethic, to getting the job done, not just to get the job done, but do it to a certain perfection. Folks, we come from that type of cloth, and we've always had that ability in what we've done. Let's make sure that we reunify ourselves with our values. We can't go back and do the things that happened 5 years ago. We cannot allow people to take us out of work anymore. We cannot allow people to take control of our children and misguide them based upon a social trend anymore. We cannot allow our children to mimic the behavior of people who are undisciplined. We need a reunification of our values. And as I've always said, infinite men of honor will always have a code of conduct on how we treat each other, and the village will see how the men treat each other, and everybody else will fall in line. That is the strength and power of our brotherhood as men. And until we as men understand what that reunification of a value is, I will not sit at the table with anybody egotistical who feels as though that their way is the only way. If you feel as though that your way is the only way, smart guy, go do it. I know that my platform with the Jace is not the only way. It is part of the culture. It has a bearing, yes, but it's not overall. It encompasses and touches certain things with everybody else's culture, but succinctly, it remains something unto its own that children can use as a foundation historically. They still have to be fed financially. They still have to be empowered economically. They still have to be shown what esteem through adversity looks like. They still have to be given a chance to establish themselves with integrity. Yeah, that's a lot of work, parent. Yeah, parent. That's a lot of work, parent. But guess what? You stand on the backs of giants. Didn't grandma do that? Didn't Pop do that? Didn't your great aunties, didn't Mom Dukes, didn't these people do that? They stood up on it, right? I see, this is what I keep trying to tell people. You can't use that as an excuse when you have the example in your family. If you can talk about how your mama was an icon and she did this and she did that, where is your voice? Where are you standing? If you want to talk about how your daddy did this and he helped gang members and stuff like that, you ain't continuing in that man's footsteps to make sure that his legacy and his impact stays intact. Because during those perilous times, you got to remember, the men and the women that are still alive, they came from that gang warring. They came from survival of the four major pandemics during the 80s and the 90s. We cannot forget ourselves and keep saying, oh, it's a new thing and it's new people. No. The word of God says there's nothing new under the sun. But you know what's new? This plausible deniability of the truth. This accepting of a lie and accepting of what you know are immoral behaviors and then excusing and say that's the way of the world. What if somebody said that to you when you was coming up and allowed you to go out there and pervert yourself and not knock you upside your head like you got knocked upside your head? I see that on so many posts. I got knocked upside my head. Well, you better go knock your kid upside his head. And for anybody to tell me, oh, you can't say that, Rich. Listen, I have knocked my kid upside his head and went to jail for it. Sure did. And told the judge, he ain't coming. He's not coming to testify. Why not? Because if he shows up to court and he testifies, not only am I going to take the charge, I'm going to knock him upside his head again. And I meant that. No, I did. I meant that. And that's my deceased son. I said that to the judge. Sure did. I bit a little charge. I got handcuffed. You know why I got handcuffed? Because my son was out there acting a fool. It didn't matter how old he was. Personal integrity in my family runs real deep. And I'm not going to have one of my kids out here acting like a park ape, knowing that I can address the situation as that child's father. I'm not going to, like I said, I am different. I'm not better. I'm not better than anybody. It's just that I don't let certain stuff like that slide because I see what's done in other people's families, bro. I see what is done in other people's families. So I'm supposed to capitalize off your mistakes. If you're not going to love your child enough to get your child therapy, and I do for mine, don't get mad at me when I come back and talk about the wonders of the therapy or how it helped or whatever, because you refuse to do something that you know is right to do. Don't get mad at me because I speak very clearly about what I'm going through on this program so that way I can help other people make a breakthrough with their therapy and see that they can uplift themselves with strength. You don't have to like the way that I do it, but constantly, I get people who commend me for speaking honestly about this and not worrying about the stigma of how people are going to feel about me because I talk about mental health. Laugh all you want. I've been laughed at. I've got jokes for days where people have made jokes out of my name and my situation and talked about my deceased sons publicly. You can't kill me with my pain. That's what you have to realize about my trauma. I expect you to do it. I anticipate you being who you are, and I'm ready for it. But be mindful. There will also come a day, like in the case of my grandson, where you push somebody too far. And you have to expect that there might be a certain backlash, because when that person's dealing with trauma, I'm not talking about nothing extravagant, crazy, but if you get yelled at by me because you don't understand that I need you to leave me alone for a second while I process what I'm going through, that's your fault. Or if I say I need a mental health day, which happens at least once a week now, I just need a mental health day. And I take it so that way I can decompress whatever emotions I'm going through, where I can do my faith practice and study, call my therapist, have a conversation, and get on with the rest of my life. But we have to talk about these things and be honest, so we can get people dialogue, so that way we're not having men in Delco barricade themselves and shoot their wives and then, get taken alive and leave 5 children without a mother. Because we allowed this man, who obviously needed some help, to not get the help he needed, and now another life is taken. We see the derangement at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where somebody obviously felt as though, I know people saying the stage or whatever, at the end of the day, a man was laying face down on the floor. At the end of the day, people had to see these trauma images once again flashed across the news about mental health once again, and it's not being dealt with in a manner that just makes that it villainizes everything that we're doing about it in some degree. So when we go to talk about it as men, we don't get the condescending laughter about it. That's Men's Mental Health Monday. So if you take anything away from my show when I talk about mental health issues, where I give you examples from my own personal life, where I reach out and share with you, because I share my family too, and I share the things that we go through, just remember this. It may not be right now, and it may not happen right now, but one day it might be your turn. And don't be like the rest of us who have to find out the hard way of how to deal with it. Take from the example that we have, and let's work together to make sure that the next generation of men don't have to go through the same stigma of being alone and being afraid of being ridiculed or looked at a certain way, because people want to treat this as if it's a joke, until somebody unregrettably gets hurt. We have to put an end to this. See you guys on the flip side.